Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Coda if you don't know me, and if you do know me, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be in front of my camera again. I'm so excited to be here with you guys, and I'm very excited about this video. This has been a very long awaited, long requested video, and with final season coming up, I know that the demand for help with exams is very high. So this video is just supposed to be your ultimate finals season guide. These are my strategies, things that I've developed over the years and things that work for me. For those who don't know much about me, I'll just give a quick little introduction. So my name is Dakota. I'm a fourth year student in political science. My program is actually called Politics and Governance, and I'm minoring in criminology. So I am a social studies student. And so I do a lot of writing and reading in my classes, and a lot of my exams are in the format of like long or short answer and multiple choice as well. Also, I'm graduating this year, and I was recently accepted into all 3 graduate schools that I applied for political science, and I'm very excited about my choice. It's one of the top schools in the province, so it's very exciting. And in the country. It's also one of the top rated research institutions. So I'm super excited about school and very passionate about learning, and I hope that you guys feel my passion through what I'm saying. Eventually, I want to become a professor, and so that's sort of my goal. I love school. I'm very passionate about learning, and yeah, so that's where I'm at. That being said, I'm sort of going to walk you guys through like 3 ways or 3, I guess, phases in terms of me preparing for finals, starting with what I do before, then what I do during finals, so like the week that I normally have all of my finals, and then sort of just like some other advice and tips. And I also asked you guys on Instagram some questions that you wanted to be answered. First, I mean, this might not be very helpful for people now, but this is normally what I do at the very beginning of the year. I also mentioned this in my last school related video. At the beginning of class, as soon as I receive the syllabus, I make a spreadsheet, a huge spreadsheet. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. And at the bottom, I'll have different tabs of each of my classes, and in each spreadsheet, or in each sheet, sorry, it will outline all of the readings, when the readings are due, and then if I completed it or not. At the top, I designate all of the assignments, also the weight of the assignments when they're due, if I've started, if I've completed, and then I also make one sheet that just has all of the assignments for all of the classes combined. So this has been something that I've done since my 2nd year, and it is a game changer for staying organized. So I use my spreadsheets to organize myself before my assignments, which I found to be very helpful, and I would recommend all of you to do that, or do, I guess, I know a lot of people also use Notion to organize their schoolwork. I find Notion to be very tedious, and I don't really like Notion, at least from the one time I tried to use it. I use Google Sheets or Excel, which are perfect for me. I also make a schedule of all of my assignments and make sure to put them in my calendar at the very start of the year. I know that these sound like very small things, but I find that for myself at least, it's really the small little habits that you build over time that help you in school. And so making sure that you are organized from the beginning of the semester is a great way to make sure that you stay organized throughout the semester. And so one way that I allow myself to stay up to date with my assignments and with my readings is that from the beginning of school, normally the very first week, you don't have readings, or at least at my school, or if you have a reading, it's normally very short. So in that week, I'll take the liberty to do the readings for the first 2 weeks. That way, every week now, say it's week 3, I'm doing the reading. I would have already done the reading for week 3 in week 2. And say it's week 4, and it just goes like that. So basically, that would mean that I'm always 1 week ahead in terms of reading. And so that takes a lot of weight off of my shoulders and gives me more time to be able to focus on other assignments or other things in school. I know a lot of people don't do their readings, but if they're required, I'm telling you, they are going to be helpful in any regard. The amount of effort that you put into your education is always going to shine through. So I know that readings can be dreadful, but just do them. Like, if anything, you're doing yourself a favor, and by not reading them, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And why would you do that? So I highly recommend that. those are sort of things that I do in the beginning of the semester. And also I do make an effort to establish relationships with my professors. Not all of them, like I'm not gonna force a relationship if there's not one there. But I think that because I do value education so much, generally like I'm drawn to professors, and it seems like a lot of my professors are drawn to me based on like how interactive I am in class and how much I participate. When your professors know that you care about your grades, when they know that you're a diligent student, they are going to be more willing to help you out in situations. For example, one of my professors is very strict on no extensions on any assignments, and we have a relationship. I'm not saying to like suck up to them, but like be your authentic self and let that show. And so she knows the kind of person I am and student I am. And so she allowed me to have the extension when if I didn't have that relationship with her, I know that would not have been possible. Also, to-do lists are my favorite things. I make a lot of to-do lists for everything. I can put a screenshot of one of my to-do lists here. I just make it in notes, very brief. It helps me feel like I'm accomplishing more in the week. I also number my to-do list, so I'll put it in like parentheses, which order, so prioritizing tasks, seeing which things I can complete right now and which things can maybe be put off for a little bit. I am very strict when it comes to my study schedule, and I have done the same method for the last 3 years. And my first year, like I did most of it online, so I feel like I can't really speak on much on that experience. I study using 3 methods. The first method that I use is active recall. So the way that I do active recall, I think is a little bit different than how most people do it. I use flashcards. So what I will do is write out, go through all of my notes, go through the lecture slides, go through everything and compile all of these terms onto these flashcards, and that is how I will track my active recall. So for example, say I'm studying, like right now I'm actually studying for one of my Indigenous governance classes, and so I have all the terms on one side, definitions on the other, and as I'm doing going through the flashcards, if I'm getting it wrong, I'm making a note of which flashcard I'm getting wrong. What term is it that I'm getting wrong, or what aspect am I tripping up on? That way I'm able to recognize patterns and see where I'm repeatedly tripping up or repeatedly needing more assistance, or just like knowing where I need to fix things. And so that has been really transformative for my studying. Before, I used to just use flashcards, but using the flashcards plus active recall plus tracking everything and keeping timestamps is very helpful. I'm also able to see my improvement throughout the days. So that's one method that I use. I also use flashcards on their own without tracking what I get wrong and what I get right. I also use active recall in its own sense for like, I guess, smaller exams. I don't really use it for big ones because I tend to have really like a lot of content. Like if I'm just being honest, there's a lot of content and I don't have time to be writing everything down. But for like midterms and stuff, I will use active recall in the general sense, which just has you write everything down and then you go back and correct it. So it's the same sort of concept with that. Flashcards, active recall, those are my 2 like main ways of revision. But also while I'm doing my flashcards and active recall, I'm also saying everything out loud. I probably sound like a crazy person in my house, but I repeat everything out loud because that way not only am I taking it in by reading it, but I'm also saying it out loud. So it's 2 methods of revision and 2 methods of digesting the information. And although it's like a lengthy process, it works. That's what works for me, and that's what I've used the past 4 years. Other methods that I use frequently, I would say that I use like my lecture slides a lot in terms of like just reviewing them. I also just review my notes often, pretend that I'm teaching a class, teaching it to someone. I'll teach it to my partner, I'll teach it to my parents, anybody who will listen, even to myself. And it's just a way for me to understand what I know and what I don't again, because if I can't explain it, then I know I don't know it. So those are generally like my main ways of studying for finals. So flashcards again, mixed with active recall in my own hybrid fashion. And then I do review my notes very often. I also say everything out loud. I also review the slides. If there are slides, if there aren't slides, then Obviously I won't review them. And then another thing that I do is I will make like a comprehensive document written by hand. And I also rewrite my notes pretty often for things that like if I'm doing my active recall and I notice patterns of certain terms that I keep on tripping up on, I will make a list of those things and just rewrite it over and over and over and say it out loud. Sounds crazy. And trust me on this, guys. Trust me. It sounds crazy, but by writing it out and by saying it out loud, now you got three things going. Not only are you reading it, not only are you writing it, but you are also saying it out loud. 3 ways of digesting the information. I highly recommend. That's what I've used, and it has helped me with all of my exams. I have never received less than an A on any exams since starting my undergrad. So I would highly recommend those. In my first years, I used to not write my flashcards by hand, but I do find a lot of benefits in writing by hand, which is why I switched over. But I used to use Quizlet and brainscape, and there's like a bunch of sort of like study relating apps that can help you create studying materials. I'll put like a list in the description just because I can't think of many off the top of my head. I think it's just better if I just write it by myself. It helps me retain information. Oftentimes if I'm typing, I tend to disengage from what I'm writing and I'm just focused on like getting everything down. So I prefer writing things by hand way over typing, especially for studying. So I recommend that if you feel that you're missing out on information, start writing things by hand. A very reoccurring theme in terms of figuring out study habits for yourself are, how do you learn? For me, I learn by speaking. I learn by discussion. I learn by breaking things down, and if I can understand the nuances, I can understand the concept wholeheartedly. So for me, I know that typing my notes and doing everything digitally is not going to be as effective as it would be if I were to write everything by hand. So understand how you learn, how you retain information, and then from there you can apply tricks and you can apply tools that will actually cater to your learning. Normally during final season, about a day, my studying is at minimum 6 hours. I work in 2-hour blocks of studying, so I will create a plan. I'll put an example on the screen, but this is just from today. So I have like a list of what I'm gonna do, so it'll be randomized, like flashcards, review slides, active recall 2, cheat sheet, review slides, whatever, reread notes, and I'll make a whole list. And then on the other side, I'll put benchmarkers for time. So I work in 2-hour blocks, and I will put like 2-hour little check boxes. And normally it's like 3 or 4. I'm normally studying between 6 to 8 hours. And that allows me to keep track of my progress and also give myself well-needed breaks. I do struggle with like taking breaks with school and like balancing working with school, but that's something that I'm trying to manage. But this is just what works for me. Working on this schedule helps. Treating studying as if it is a job is helpful, because if you don't force yourself to sit down one day, like you're just never going to do it. You just have to force yourself. Like that's really what it comes down to. If you want the grade, if you want to do well, you will force yourself to sit down. Forcing myself to do my work has paid off. And I've actually learned to enjoy studying. I really enjoy studying now, and I enjoy reviewing my stuff. Like I enjoy being ready for an exam and knowing exactly what's going on. And when I finally receive the exam, like I'm blazing through because I know everything. Like it is the most rewarding feeling for me doing well in school. So I hope that these tips are helpful. These are sort of things that I have done throughout my schooling. I really think that a lot of it begins with discipline. Put your phone down, put your phone in a different room, shut it off, turn it on airplane mode, whatever you need to do it. If once you sit down and you're able to retain the information, it is not going to seem as strenuous and as like debilitating as it might seem right now. When you finally sit down and actually look through it, I think, at least for myself, I found like it's not actually as complex as I thought, or it's not, you know, as bad as I thought. I just needed to designate some time and sit down. I'm gonna move on to questions. I actually feel like a real YouTuber. I've never done this before. So basically, I just asked you guys to ask me any questions relating to school. I mentioned that I guess for other people who don't know like my school history, I've won essay prizes. I have a 3.94 GPA, and I have retained a 4.0 and 4.3 GPAs from year 2 to year 4, especially in this year and the year before. My GPA has been, at least for the term, has been at a 4.3. So I've been a straight A student. I received 2 B's in all of my schooling, which was in my first year. It was an adjustment, but whatever. I mean, it's still great. I just hold myself to a very high standard. The first question asks, how much time per day do you dedicate to studying? I actually answered this question, I didn't realize that. But that is 6 to 8 hours in 2-hour blocks, taking breaks. My breaks vary. Sometimes my breaks will be like 5 minutes because I just run to the bathroom and I'm in a groove. And other times I really need the break. So depending on what works for you, make breaks accordingly. My cousin asked how to not stop studying after 5 minutes. And I feel like a lot of it is going to come down to if you really want it that bad and you're disciplined. I would take it as like a challenge. See how long you can go without getting distracted by studying. I'm generally just a very competitive person. So like the environment, not me dropping my phone. The environment of me being in school and like striving for good grades and like working hard, like this is right up my alley. I'm a very competitive person, and I mean the competition's with nobody else but myself and challenging myself and seeing how much better I can do in school. So I think that a lot of it's gonna rest on if you really want it. If you find yourself not having the motivation to study, I'm sure it could be due to a number of factors. I've never really struggled with staying consistent with school, but I think that it is important to, if you feel very overwhelmed, put yourself first. Please, always. I should take my own advice. Put yourself first and your needs, and if you need to take a day to do absolutely nothing, do absolutely nothing, and the next day kill it. I hope that that's helpful in some sense. I also think putting your phone away, phones are big distractions. Go to the library, go in quiet rooms, go into spaces where you're surrounded by other people who are working or who are studying. I find myself to be very motivated in public spaces when I work, but I'm also motivated at home. But sometimes it's very nice to have that change of scenery. So go into study spaces, put your phone down. I'm gonna say that a million times. Put your phone down. The amount of times that I go to the library at school, people are studying and they're just like this. So put the phone down, please. Because at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. Like the content on your phone is gonna be there later. It's not going away. The world is still gonna go around. You're not gonna miss the next thing that's on your phone. If I know of any good scholarships that current undergrads can apply to. So this question is pretty specific to where I live because I'm in Ontario, so I only know about undergrad scholarships for Ontario students. I fortunately did not have to apply for many scholarships during my undergrad. Majority of my tuition was covered with academic scholarships, like entrance scholarships through my school, and I also like submitted my essays and received compensation for that, or did other things at school where I received compensation. But aside from that, I think that a lot of undergraduate schools in Ontario specifically do have auto-renewal academic scholarships, which is what I had every semester. There's also like, I would look at your school's internal grants and opportunities. OSAP is another one. I've never been on OSAP, so I can't speak to OSAP. There's also, well, this person goes to my school, so I gave very specific examples for things for my school, but there's also OntarioScholarships.ca, and they have like a huge database of different scholarships. I will also put more scholarship resources for undergrads if I can find it in the description, but a lot of these scholarships that I have applied to or am applying for are for graduate students. So this question says, have you ever struggled with motivation or staying consistent? I don't think that I've struggled with motivation or staying consistent. Like, what motivates me is not wanting to fail. So if I don't want to fail, I'm gonna do the work regardless of if I want to do the work or not. Remind yourself of your goals and where you want to be. Put yourself in situations where you are around people who are aligned with your views, or I mean not your views, I mean that too, but like who are aligned with like what you see for yourself in the future. For example, my school had like specific events for women who are pursuing higher education, or people of color who are searching for higher education, doing things in law or certain fields. And I think that majority of universities offer related supports. So if you're struggling to feel motivated, struggling to stay consistent, I would say that your best bet may also be to look at people who are in positions where you want to be. And if you are in a position to ask them questions, my question to everybody is always like, if you were in my position, what's one thing you would have told your younger self? And everybody always offers a different answer. That's a question I've asked almost every professor that I've gotten close with. And I've taken every advice that I've received, because my job is to retain everything and to learn everything. And to make better and informed decisions. So also, like, think about the people that you are around, and like, are the people that you are around also driven by the same, I mean, it doesn't have to be the same, but you know, are they people who are also wanting to do well? Are they people who are aligning with you and like the standard that you want to hold yourself up to? Surround yourself with a community of people that you can admire traits of. Last question we have here is how to overcome imposter syndrome. This is a great question. I love this question because I feel like this is very relevant and particular to where I am in my life right now. After getting accepted into grad school and all 3 programs, I got accepted into what I consider to be the toughest program first. And so for me, like, I broke down, like, happy tears, of course, but like, when even though I've proven myself time and time and time again, there's still that doubt of like, okay, but what if? Or okay, well, maybe it's not what I think it is, or maybe I'm just doing well because things are easy and I'm not actually as smart or as successful as I think I am. And I think that that can be a very slippery slope, especially as a Black woman already. You know, I'm already entering spaces that are not catered to me, that people aren't expecting me to be in. And so it can be a way for me to put fear into my own potential. I wrote some more notes about this, so if I'm looking down, that's why. I think that for myself in particular, I've always said that things aren't as hard as they are, or that, oh, if I got that, then it was easy, or instead of actually celebrating my wins. So I think that one way to really help avoid imposter syndrome, or that becoming worse, would be to celebrate every win that you achieve. Whether that it could be very small, but don't dismiss your accomplishments just because you fear what it might look like for you to embrace your accomplishments. Because the things that you're doing are not, you know, it's not happenstance that you're getting into these positions. You are qualified. I think that a lot of it just starts with believing that in yourself. And I think that school as well also puts you in a situation where you tend to compare yourself to other students, which I really have problems with. And I hate that it does that, because learning should not be that at all. But I think that when you realize that everybody else is also putting on some sort of image, or acting like, you know, things aren't as hard for them as well, like, it can help you see things differently. Like, when I was speaking to this person about this, they were saying like how they would be talking about a class that was really hard and talking about, oh wow, like that class was so hard, and everybody would be dismissing it as easy. And then when you actually get people away from other people, or you break down whatever wall that's there, they reveal that they also struggled. So I think that comparison is a thief of joy. I think that also people are putting on a front, and if you feel like you're not measuring up, I don't know if this brings any sort of comfort, but I'm sure that a lot of other people are also feeling the exact same way, especially when you are in post-secondary. My fear for other people who doubt themselves is that you're going to allow your doubts to creep into your potential, which I think is doing yourself a disservice, also doing the world a disservice to, I guess, whatever you can put out into the world. I am working through it by celebrating my wins, by not dismissing things, acknowledging like, yeah, that was hard, but I did that. Like, it was hard. Like, I don't have to act like every single thing is just coming easy, because I mean, I am doing the work for it, so I should be able to celebrate that. But I hope that people who are experiencing this don't feel like they're the only ones who feel this way. I also feel like at this age there is so much uncertainty. For context, I'm 21, but there's so much uncertainty in terms of your career and the trajectory of your career that it can be very daunting to imagine your potential. But I hope that this video gives you guys some sort of encouragement to not fear that. I hope that you guys are motivated to do things even if you are scared. And I hope that you don't allow your doubt or your fears to limit you, because you have no idea like the rooms that are waiting for you. And that's some advice that I could take for myself as well. If you guys have any other study related questions, school related questions, be sure to leave them in the description, or you guys can, sorry, not in the description, in the comments, or you guys can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram's always in the description, as well as my other social media. So if you want to chat, we can absolutely chat. We can talk about grad school. We can talk about anything. I'm open to conversations, and in my future I want to be a teacher, so this is perfect. Sharing knowledge with people and being able to help other people who may want to do things like I want to is ultimately the goal. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. I'm super excited for this to come out, and I'm very excited to share with you guys that I got into grad school. I think that getting my acceptances into the school have also given me a little bit more confidence to believe in myself, and I have great teachers that I felt have mentored me throughout my education as well. Now I'm officially done with this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below for more, and I will see you in the next one. Good luck with finals, everybody. Your grades do not define you. Do the best that you can. And if you are not satisfied with that, at least you did your best. There's nothing else you could have done. All right. Bye, guys.